Can you talk further about how being male-centered plays into female offenders, please? Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I have worked with sex offenders and criminal offenders for a number of years, and this is a great question. Thank you so much for asking this question, because it does come up. And I do think it's a really special topic. Some of it, which I got into on this post, in which this question was asked. So if any of you are watching this for the first time, click on this comment, and then you can see the original post. So there's a number of ways in which, being male-centered plays into female offenders. First of all, a male-centered woman is very dangerous. I've shared that with you before, and so I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to say something that a few of you might find very controversial, might piss you off, whatever. I get it, but I'm just speaking from what I know, and what I know from what sex offenders go after, and just from working with the population that I've worked with. I will start with single mothers. Single mothers and married women are not the same as a single unmarried woman. A single unmarried woman has the privilege of she can have a terrible experience in dating. She can have an abusive experience in dating, but she can get up and walk away at any time and basically pick up her life and start all over again. And the only consequence that she will suffer is saying, hey, I had a bad boyfriend, and have a conversation about that with girlfriends, may need therapy, all those other things, right? But it's just her at the end of the day. With single mothers have children, and so they cannot afford to make the same mistakes that single women do, especially with partners. And if you sit down and you talk to a sex offender, or any offender for that matter, and you ask them who is their most likely target that they're going to go after, they're going to go after the targets that show vulnerabilities, the targets that have easy access to children, and that are not going to really blink an eye for them. And a lot of them target single mothers specifically because they know that there is a desire to make a family. And I'll give you an example. Somebody else asked me a question about this. I have to kind of go back through a lot of these questions about love after lockup. If you take any woman from love after lockup with children that just randomly meets an inmate, she's open, willing, and ready to welcome this man into her home and have him around her children, and is very quick to have her children call him daddy. A strange man that they don't even know, right? And that they don't even know the half of who this person is because he's been incarcerated for so many years. That is an example, of how that being male-centered, like, just, I really want a boyfriend, I'm chasing after a man, I'm chasing after a father for my kids, and I will accept anyone and everyone that comes through that door, having low self-esteem. And so that would be a situation in where a woman is really just ready to take everything that comes with it, and put her own children at risk with a male offender. And there are several that I've worked with over the years, offenders that have allowed men to stay, even knowing what they were doing and what they were capable of. And so they've allowed these men to be around their children. And you guys have actually maybe seen this maybe even in more mainstream media recently, where there's a female pop star that has gotten a lot of flack for being with an offender. And so so this is real stuff that goes on. I'm not making this. But also women, even women that don't have children, but women who are very male-centered, are very down, that are ride to die, down to do whatever for their man. As one person mentioned, they're ready and willing to take their charges for the men. So there are women that do take charges and sitting in county right now for taking a charge for their man. But two, there are women that once they get with a man, they desire to do anything to keep him, and will help him procure victims and help him offend. And again, treat that almost like this is a threesome. We're a couple, and we're doing things together, and I'm down for whatever because that is my man. There are so that's one way that being male-centered plays into being a female offender. And also another thing that I'll go back to about single mothers is that also catches up is discipline. So if you being male-centered and you're ready to accept this man, and you're, even if he's not, doesn't have a history of offenses, because I've worked with people like this too, people that just sort of marry a man and get with a man, and that man doesn't like children, right? And so actually there's a very famous case, I think it was Susan Smith. This is an example of like this man doesn't want children, but she's got her eyes set on this man, and she wants him, and she views him as a prize. She is willing to get rid of her children, which is, the premise of that case. But also, not only she may be willing to get rid of her children, so murder her own children, for the benefits of having a man and appearing to be a single man, so that this man can finally accept her and marry her because she's got her target set on him. That's one. But also in terms of allowing a man to you're welcoming him in and allowing him to be around your children unsupervised, and so he's disciplining your child, he's doing whatever to your child, and you haven't vetted to see if this man is a good enough person to be around your child, or what his how he expresses anger, I should say, because little kids are little kids, right? And so you have to see how people sort of manage their stress tolerance in order to be around a little child, if they can talk to a child correctly, if they can correct that behavior, or if they're just a good enough person, right? Or if they like children, for example. And so there's been situations where women have allowed men around their child, and they've shaken the babies to death, or broken bones, or killed their babies, and things like that. And that's I've seen that happen quite a lot, where people use substances, and they'll kill the baby or do something, something like that. But so that's one way of being male-centered, can be very costly when it comes to offending children. I think the other thing that's also much more common before it even gets to the penal system is when children report to their mother, "Hey mom, this man is touching me," or "this man tried to do something inappropriate to me," and mothers will lash out and become angry with their children, disbelieve their children, or kick their children out of the house. That's also something that's been very common that I've seen over the years. And in addition to allowing that man to sort of offend against their children, or not take their children's words, or not protect their children, they will also utilize all of the resources that should be allotted to their children for this man. So child support monies or things like that, money, finances, and resources. They'll go out and buy this man a car so that he can go out and offend. They'll pay for this man's lifestyle. They'll pay for him to live there, and so he doesn't have any bills or any responsibilities and things like that, and will allow her children to go without so toys or food, or sometimes, so being male very centered, it can be very dark and very costly. Hope that helps.